On the day Kunti gave birth to Indra's son Arjuna, another birth took place in a place far away. This was a child who would guide the Pandavas into war and bring about the end of an age. This is the story of how that child, Krishna, was born. A cruel king by the name of Kans ruled Mathura. He was a cruel ruler, and the people of Mathura longed for change and peace. On the day Kans got his cousin Devaki married to Vasudev, a voice boomed from the sky and told him of his impending death. Kans was told that the 8th child born to this couple would be his slayer. Kans grew furious. In his anger, he decided to kill his cousin and her husband then and there. But Devaki begged him to let them live. Kans was arrogant, but he did love his sister. Kans did not end their lives. He threw them into prison. He decided that killing Devaki's 8th child would get rid of the death that the Akashvani had foretold for him. But Kans wanted to be sure. In a show of demonic cruelty, he decided to kill all of Devaki's children. Every time Devaki gave birth to a child, Kans smashed the newborn against the walls of the prison cell. In this manner, he killed 6 of Devaki's innocent children. When Devaki was pregnant with her 7th child, goddess Mahamaya transported the unborn child from its mother's womb to the womb of Rohini, Vasudev's first wife. Since Devaki didn't give birth, everyone except Vasudev thought she had suffered a miscarriage. Kans, for once, was happy. He now awaited the 8th child, the last threat to his life. When Devaki became pregnant with her 8th child, a divine light filled the prison cell. Up in Devalok, the gods rejoiced because Vishnu was coming to earth. Even animals of the forest felt the happiness emanating from the earth. When the time came, Devaki gave birth to the 8th incarnation of Vishnu. The happiness in her heart at having birthed a god overpowered all fears she had had until now. Even Vasudev could tell that no power on earth will harm this child. But even as he held his son, Vasudev knew that guards approached their prison cell and word had reached Kans about the birth of his slayer. But he need not have worried. Sleep was coming to Mathura.
It was raining hard that night. As Vasudev stood in his prison cell and beheld his divine son, he wondered what would become of him. He feared the coming of his brother-in-law, the dreaded king of Mathura. But when he looked out of his cell, he found that the gate was unlocked and the guards were deep in sleep. A voice from inside him told him it was all right to go outside. Guided by this voice, Vasudev took his son with him and stepped into the night. Devaki, as if advised by the same power, let him go in silence. Outside, Vasudev found that aside from him, nothing moved in Mathura. Holding his son close to his chest, Vasudev moved alone in the fierce rain. The voice in his head told him to go to the Yamuna. When he reached the raging Yamuna, Vasudev stood petrified. There was no way he was going to be able to cross this river in spate. The voice in Vasudev's head told him to surrender to the river Yamuna. Vasudev bowed to the river's might and asked her for help. When he looked up, he found that a magnificent serpent had emerged from the waters of the Yamuna. A resplendent jewel adorned its hood and lit up the dark night. When Vasudev stepped into the raging water of the Yamuna, the serpent protected him and his son from the torrential rain with its enormous hood. Thus shielded by the serpent, Vasudev walked the width of the Yamuna in water that turned out to be waist-deep only. Upon reaching the other bank, Vasudev found a camp of gypsies. The voice in his head told him that these were the people of Nand, the cowherd. It told him that he had reached his destination. Vasudeva entered the camp and, guided by the voice in his head, found Yashoda. She was Nanda's wife and had given birth to a girl, Maya, that very night. Vasudeva placed his son next to Yashoda and picked up Maya instead. With Yashoda's daughter Maya, Vasudeva left the cow herd's camp quickly. His heart was full of sadness at having abandoned his son, but he was glad that no harm will come to him. The voice in his head assured him that the world was about to change. Kans woke up sweating. A nightmare had haunted him throughout the night. He had dreamed that great tragedy was about to befall him and ruin all that he held dear. When he found from a guard that Devaki had given birth to her 8th child, he was both happy and frightened. As he started walking towards Devaki's prison cell, he wondered what shape his death had taken. He wondered also if this was the last day of his life. But when he reached the cell and saw that the newborn child in Devaki's arms was a girl, Kans laughed like a man who believes he has defeated death. Still laughing, he grabbed the child from Devaki. He asked his sister if she thought he was going to be killed by a woman. He looked to the skies and demanded that the gods answer him. Kans was happy. He held in his hands the secret to immortality. But the moment he raised his hand to smash the little girl against the wall of the prison cell, an explosion of light blinded him. The child fell from his hand, but it did not fall. The little girl that Vasudeva had brought with him from Yashoda's bed turned into the blazing form of the many-armed Durga. When Kans regained the use of his eyes, he shuddered and shrunk with fear. He realized that this is what he had dreamed of. Durga, whose light filled up the small prison cell, spoke to Kans directly. She told him that he was a fool to judge her weak because her form was that of a woman. She told Kans that she had slain demons far stronger than him. But she also told him that the destiny that was foretold for him will still consume him. Durga told Kans that his slayer had already been born and was safe somewhere far away. She told him that he will not need to go look for him. When the time comes, the avatar will come to him and fulfill both their destinies. Then Durga disappeared, leaving Kans shivering in the prison cell. Devaki, along with her husband, was now doomed to many more years in prison. She worried for herself, her husband, her son, and even her brother Kans. Yashoda was having a strange week. She had woken up some days ago to find that the child that lay next to her was a boy, not the girl that she remembered having given birth to the previous night. Later, her husband Nand had brought her another boy, Balram, to take care of. He had also brought her news that in faraway Mathura, Mad King Kans had slaughtered hundreds of newborn babies for fear that one of them might grow up to kill him. When Yashoda heard this, she started clutching her sons a little tighter. The world was going mad, and she would not let any harm come to her children. But in the midst of the madness, she also came to realize that she was not the only one who loved Krishna. Holy men, merchants, and travelers from all over the land visited her home in Gokul to see her children. Their lips spoke nothing but blessings, and their eyes held nothing but tears of joy. One day soon, a woman by the name of Putna paid Yashoda's household a visit. She was pleasant to talk to, and little Krishna and Balram took to her instantly. If Yashoda got the feeling that Putna was hiding something, she ignored it. Quickly, Putna became a close part of the Nand family, loved by everyone. And then one night, something horrifying happened. Putna changed form and turned into a terrible demoness. When everyone had fallen asleep, she stole little Krishna away from the house and went out into the moonlit night. Her intention was to kill Krishna by feeding him poisonous milk from her breast. But once Krishna started feeding, Putna realized that something was wrong. The baby was not only drinking her milk, he was also feeding on her powers, her strength, and even the hatred in her heart. The avatar's lips were taking everything from her. Fearing that this child will leave her nothing, Putna tried to separate him from her breast, but she couldn't. The last thing to echo through the night was Putna's dying scream. With the sunrise came Yashoda, Krishna's worried mother. When she had woken to find that Putna and Krishna were both nowhere to be seen, Yashoda had feared the worst. But when she found her baby playing happily next to the corpse of a grotesque demoness, she realized that there was much she had to learn about her son. What Yashoda also did not know was that somewhere far away, King Kans of Mathura was in rage because he had failed to kill his nephew. Putna, his loyal servant, lost to him. But Kans swore that the next demon he sends after Krishna will win.
When Yashoda heard that Krishna was eating mud, she charged into the yard and found her son with his mouth full. She demanded that Krishna open his mouth and show her what he was eating. Krishna hesitated for a while before opening his mouth, but he eventually did open his mouth. When Yashoda looked into it, it was not mud that she saw. She saw everything. She saw the universe within Krishna. She saw the sun, the moon, and the stars. She saw all the worlds and all the creatures who lived and died on them. She saw the strings that connected these worlds and felt eternity stretching out in all directions at once. Yashoda stopped being Yashoda as the vastness of the cosmos overpowered her. But just as her mind was about to wander past the point of no return, the universe swam before her eyes and she found herself face to face with a child who was frightened of his angry mother. Yashoda was shivering as she took Krishna into her arms. It was the first time she had come to terms with the fact that she was not the mother of just a child. In her lap was the Brahmand itself.
Considering the specific association Vrindavan had with the Goverdhan Hill, before the first showers of the year, Krishna convinced Nand to worship the Goverdhan Hill instead of worshipping Indra for rain. Following Krishna's honest appeal, Nand decided to hold the annual prayers and called for all the special arrangements to be made to offer the holy sacrifice to Goverdhan Hill. Enraged by the neglect of Indra's authority by the residents of Vrindavan, Lord Indra, using his thunderbolt, sent torrential rain and thunder to devastate Vrindavan. In desperation to seek shelter from the terrifying storm, the cowherds and animals of Vrindavan ran to Krishna, seeking protection against the storm. Krishna consoled the terror-stricken people. In a magical show of strength, he lifted the Govardhan Hill with his little finger. In the hands of the avatar, the hill became an umbrella that sheltered the people from Indra's wrath. All those who flocked underneath the hill remained safe till the rain stopped. When Indra saw that his most fierce attempts could not get past the young cowherd's might, his illusions of being god of gods were shattered. Having realized his mistake, Indra descended from beyond the clouds and begged Krishna's forgiveness.
Krishna was once out with his cowherd friends to graze the cows by the lakeside. When they sat down in the afternoon to eat, Brahma, the creator of the universe, appeared. He saw Krishna sharing food with his friends from the same plate. Brahma found this amusing. Why? He wondered, would a god share food with cowherds? He decided to test Krishna's divine power. As Krishna and his friends laughed and ate their food, Brahma took the opportunity to disappear with their cows. Krishna found the cows missing and went looking for them. When he returned, he found that Brahma had kidnapped his friends as well. Through the power of his divinity, Krishna quickly learnt that it was Brahma who was behind this mischief. In order to teach Brahma a lesson, Krishna played a unique trick. He created the lost cows and cowherds out of his own self. When Krishna returned to the village with all those who had been stolen by Brahma, no one could tell the difference. The few moments that Brahma had kidnapped the cowherds for was equivalent to a year on earth. During this 1 year, life went on normally in the village. None of the villagers could guess that their children were not real. Krishna's Leela fooled one and all. Upon returning, Brahma was astonished to see that the villagers had missed nothing of what he had stolen from them. The same cows grazed by the lake, and the same children played with Krishna as he played the flute. When Brahma used his divine powers to understand the situation, he saw that all that he saw around him was Krishna. Every cow, every child, and every cowherd was Krishna. The creator of the universe then fell to his knees and acknowledged Krishna's divinity. The ones who he had taken from the mortal world were returned and thanked Krishna.
Once when Krishna was out with cowherd friends, his elder brother, Balram, told everyone that he wants to be strong enough to punch and kill the ferocious bull called Hastin. Hastin was the biggest and the strongest bull in Vrindavan. He was the source of the whole breed of cows in Vrindavan. All the villagers were scared of Hastin because he was extremely violent. On the evening of the full moon, when Krishna and his cowherd friends got together, Krishna told Balram that killing Hastin is not a good deed. Krishna even announced to everyone that by the next full moon, he will ride Hastin. No one believed Krishna when he said this. All his friends thought that Krishna was only bragging about himself. Balram also told Krishna not to take this challenge, as it would not be an easy task. Krishna, however, did not listen to anyone. For the next 1 month until Purnima, Krishna visited the cowshed every night and played the flute for hours sitting around Hastin. He even mixed jaggery to the straw and fed sweet food to Hastin from a distance. By the end of the month, Krishna got closer and closer to Hastin. Hastin by then had become docile. On the night of Purnima, when all the villagers were enjoying and celebrating, Krishna appeared near the cowshed and leapt onto Hastin. All villagers who saw Krishna sitting on Hastin were shocked. They looked at Krishna as he rode Hastin all around the village until the aggressive bull had exhausted all his energy and had calmed down. Krishna did the task that even the strongest men from the village had never dared to do. As Krishna played his flute and Hastin calmly grazed the field to the sound of his music, the villagers came to understand the lesson of kindness Krishna had taught them. Kindness is the ultimate strength.
Stories of Krishna's heroism had spread across Mathura. When news of Krishna's heroism reached Kans, he became fearful, as he realized that the prophecy he wanted to reject was coming true. Kans knew that his life was in Krishna's hands. All of Kans's attempts at killing Krishna in the past had failed. This time, he knew that he had one last chance to do away with Krishna. In Mathura, there was a full-grown elephant called Kuvalayapida. Everybody was scared of this elephant as it was extremely aggressive and uncontrollable. Kans had used Kuvalayapida many times in the battles that he had fought. This time, Kans planned to use the same elephant to kill Krishna. He asked the Mahot to tie the elephant in the entrance of the palace so that it tramples Krishna and Balram as they enter. Kans was certain that Krishna would have no chance against Kuvalayapida. As Krishna and Balram approached the arena, they found the elephant blocking their way. When Krishna went closer, the elephant attacked him. Krishna held the elephant's trunk and flung him away. The wild elephant came running back to him and tried trampling him, but a single heavy blow by Krishna rendered Kuvalayapid unconscious. All who saw the fight cheered for Krishna. The arena was filled with people cheering and singing praises of Krishna and Balram as they walked in. Kans, sitting on his throne at the other end of the arena, shivered in fear. When he saw people celebrating Krishna's victory over his aggressive elephant, he knew his very last plan had failed. After defeating the violent elephant, Krishna and Balram walked towards the grounds where the Dhanur Yagya was going on. As Krishna and Balram walked towards the ground, everybody started cheering for them. Kans sent 2 of his wrestlers to deal with them. The wrestlers attacked Krishna and Balram in front of the whole crowd, but Krishna and Balram fought and defeated them both with great ease. After defeating the wrestlers, Krishna and Balram walked towards the center to take part in the challenge of lifting the mighty bow. Of the many kings, chiefs and citizens who had taken part in the Dhanur Yagya, none was strong enough to raise the divine bow that lay at the center. Krishna walked towards the bow and lifted it effortlessly, shocking everyone. The divine bow was known for its weight. It was gifted by Lord Shiv to Parashuram, who then passed it on to Krishna's ancestors. No one could break this bow as it was designed by Shiv and was meant for Vishnu. When Krishna started stringing the bow snapped. Seeing this, Kans rose from his throne in rage and ordered his army to kill Krishna and Balram. Kans had been told that if the bow is broken during the yagya, the performer of the yagya would die. Kans realized that the 8th son of Devaki had appeared and that now his death was close by. When he saw his army being defeated by Krishna and Balram, he tried to flee before they could reach him. Krishna and Balram fought all of Kans's men and quickly reached for the dais. Before Kans could move, Krishna and Balram jumped upon him. When they began to fight in earnest, Kans saw the divine face of Lord Vishnu on Krishna. He tried hitting Krishna and pushing him away, but the 2 brothers did not let up the pressure. Despite being outnumbered, Kans was still a warrior feared by many. After an intense fight, Kans breathed his last. When people saw Krishna and Balram put an end to Kans, they all cheered in joy and showered flowers upon them. The air was filled with loud cheers of joy and praise for Krishna. Krishna had freed Mathura from the rule of the evil Kans.
Janmashtami, the day of Krishna's birth, is celebrated across India on the 8th day of the dark fortnight, also called the Ashtami of Krishna Paksh, in the month of Bhadon. Krishna is one of the most powerful incarnations of Vishnu.
In most mythological stories, Krishna is depicted as a blue figure. Besides Krishna, the other gods who have been shown as being blue are Vishnu, Ram and Shiv. Hinduism is full of symbolism. What most of us don't know is that blue is the color of the all-inclusiveness of the infinite.